And when Satan devours, do you remember? We know he's devouring us when we're overwhelmed by doubts. When we all of a sudden start doubting, is God good? Is God, just? Did he make a mistake? And we have doubts. Can we trust his word? That's the opposite of faith. When we're immersed in fear. Perfect love casts out fear. Perfect doesn't mean perfect in the sense of absolutely perfect. It means mature, grown-up love casts out fear. If we're immersed in fear, we don't have that protection of God's love. And then we get consumed by selfishness. That's the opposite of love. And that's what it looks like when we're devoured. Basically, Satan's goal is also to bring confusion. Turn from Acts to chapter 3 of the Epistle of James. James chapter 3, let me get there. And look at verse 13. James 3:13 says this, "Who is wise and understanding among you, let him show by the good conduct his works are done in the meekness of wisdom." In other words, you can look around and tell what is empowering someone. What is their source of energizing them to what they're doing? If they have good conduct and they have meekness of wisdom, that shows the Lord. But look at verse 14. "If you have bitter envy and self-seeking in your hearts, don't boast and lie against the truth." In other words, if you have all these evil internal thoughts, don't share them. Because, verse 15, that envy and self-seeking and bitterness does not get downloaded from above, verse 15 says of James 3. Rather, it's earthly, sensual, and demonic. It's coming up from below. In other words, he continues, and this is a rule, for where envy and self-seeking exist, if you are listening or witnessing something and you see and sense envious talk, a self-seeking, someone that's pushing their agenda, and confusion and every evil thing, that is not from God. There's a rule. Whenever you're in a meeting of believers and it gets confusing, you stop. Because it's the indication Satan has stepped into the room. He always brings confusion. God is not the author of confusion. Envy, strife, evil, confusion, self-seeking are not from God. But the wisdom is from above, verse 17, is first pure, then peaceable, then gentle, a willingness to yield. If you find someone that is unyielding, recalcitrant, hard-hearted, they are not energized by God. They're stubborn, and that's part of the devil's realm. God makes us willing to yield, filled with mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. And the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace by those that make peace. So God's wisdom from above brings confidence. The evil one brings confusion. What should we do? Just cross the page to chapter 4, verse 7 of James. Submit to God and resist the devil. Whenever confusion comes, whenever self-seeking comes, whenever you sense that he has entered the situation through his system, through his demons, or if you're one of the handful that the devil himself comes after, resist him, because he's already defeated. As Martin Luther said, one little word will fell him, because all we're supposed to do is resist him, and that comes by wearing the armor, understanding it, deploying it, as uncomfortable and bulky as it is, which prepares us for the relentless attacks. But God, in his amazing wisdom, says it's your choice. You want to get devoured? You want to live in fear? Do you want to constantly be driven by selfishness and destroy your life? If you don't wear my armor, the devil will devour you. It's your choice.